the Blue Jays are allergic to trades. Uh, Make a trade! Make one! It's on Locked On Blue Jays. It's right now.
You are Locked On Blue Jays, your daily Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Matty Bones, Benny Schulz with you here on Locked On Blue Jays. Thank you for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. We're free. We're available wherever you get your podcasts. The Jays are deciding to be boring. And they said, we don't want to make a move. We shall not. Wouldn't it be crazy, though, if, like, tomorrow or I guess not tomorrow, but later today, they packaged, like, some insane deal out of nowhere?
Yeah, I mean,
cool.
Juan Soto is out there. I don't believe it, but he's out there.
Some crazy stuff has gone down since we last spoke, Ben. So I guess we should talk about it. How about this Christian Vasquez deal? I thought that was kind of wild.
Yeah, that had some Wilmer Flores to it.
Well, okay, so he gets
Where he
traded.
doesn't know.
I thought did you see the funny tweet where JD Martinez was like, I find it peculiar that Christian Vasquez is going to the team we're playing today, and the catcher, knows exactly how we plan to pitch against all of them.
Well, that's kind of like when Benintendi went to the Yankees from the Royals. Like, he just, not that the Yankees were going to struggle with the Royals anyway, but he probably just brought like a notebook over, and he's like, so here's the plan these next 4 days,
Yeah. But the crazy part about that Red Sox stuff, too, is that they made the deal for Vasquez. So it was like, okay, here it comes, the fire sale of the Red Sox. And then a couple minutes later, they traded for Tommy Pham. What?
Yeah, they're doing the buying and
selling
thing. Yeah, and Reese
very
McGuire,
weird.
which, I saw someone tweet, don't Google Reese McGuire, which is probably good. But, yeah, Reese McGuire is back in the division. They're buying and selling, which is apparently a thing that's going to happen more if you think Jeff Passan's opinion is valid. It's not something that the Blue Jays will be doing, but I guess the Red Sox, like, I don't know how to feel about them now. They're definitely worse, but they're willing to still hang in the mix because it doesn't seem like they're going to trade Bogarts, and I don't know if they're going to trade JD either. So they could be mostly sticking it out, but seeing an opportunity to get a little bit of value off JD. I didn't even see what did they end up getting back? Did you see for Vasquez?
For Vasquez?
Like 2 prospects?
It was some prospects. I actually think it was a decent haul for a guy like Vasquez. And then they traded Jake Diekman for Reese McGuire.
Right. Which is definitely
getting
really worse.
What they gave up. Yeah, I don't know what they gave up for Pham.
Yeah, I think minor league guys probably.
And then, the other deal that went down that was kind of interesting to me was the Hader to San Diego deal.
Well, very interesting to me, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, you're in first place and you're trading away arguably your best player. I mean, I guess like Devin Williams is really good and you don't need Josh Hader, but like arguably the reason that you're there. So like weird, very odd move.
Yeah.
And they got nothing back really.
Hey, well, my guy Robert Gasser, 4-win tin cap ace, ain't nothing. The prospect they got, Gasser's actually a good prospect, but they didn't get stuff back that made them a better team this year. I can tell you that.
Dinelson Lamet and I don't remember the other MLB
Taylor
guy
Rogers.
they got. Taylor, they're both the Lamet's injury prone, and Rogers is having a terrible year.
Yeah, that's why the Padres wanted a closer.
Yeah, I guess
because of that. So yeah, I mean, for the Brewers, I think they weren't going to re-sign Hader after next year was probably the thing. So they
will trade him next year then.
I know.
I agree. You didn't even get a good deal for him. Like if you went and you got one of the prospects that they were going to try and trade for the Soto deal, I would have said fine, good trade. but you didn't. I thought for sure C.J. Abrams was going back or something when I saw Hader to the Padres.
Yeah.
But no.
Gasser's the number 7 prospect for the Padres. I don't know.
Oh, so he actually is a decent prospect.
Yeah. No, he was. I mean, if anyone
How
wants
old
to
is he?
know, he's 23, left-handed starter. That was a second-round competitive balance round pick, so like 71 overall last year. It needs to be more consistent, but there was one game of his I called this year where he walked the first batter and then threw 7 perfect innings in a row. It was like outlandish. It was Father's Day and we won 14. The Tin Caps won 14-0, and he was like an absolute stud. Like I think even in those 7 perfect innings, there were like 2 fly balls. Like it was just ground outs and strikeouts. It was pretty crazy.
I'm looking at that game right now against the Lake County Captains, right?
No, Lansing Lugnuts would be the one where it was the 7 perfect. But
well,
he had a couple crazy.
He had a
games.
great start against the Lake County Captains 2 starts prior.
Was that like 7 innings, 11 Ks?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's legit. If he were a lefty reliever in the majors in a couple of years, I would not be shocked. Nasty slider.
Cool.
Just a nasty slider. Back in the division, and we'll talk about Jay stuff soon, but I feel like we have to talk a little bit about what's actually happening because the Jays are not. The Yankees picked up Montas and Trevino and Esroff,
yeah.
Esroff. Montas was one that the Blue Jays appear to have been a finalist on. So that hurts to watch him go right to the Yankees.
I actually think that Montas is going to struggle.
I'm a little worried about him, I will say.
Have you seen his splits?
He's like way pro Oakland, right?
He has a 2.36 ERA at home, a 5.01 ERA on the road.
Is that this year or career?
That's this season.
Okay.
So he hasn't done really all that well away from home. Now, and you don't know whether that is because he likes pitching at the Coliseum, because he likes pitching in front of a home crowd, because maybe that turns into the Bronx. But you
can't ignore the field dimensions of the Coliseum when you see that, though.
Sure.
It's a hard place to hit homers and stuff in.
It's very true. So I don't know how well Montas is going to play. He might be great. I mean, he has had a very good season thus far, and at his home numbers are like incredible. He's had a great first half at home. I mean, 81 strikeouts in 72 innings at home. He's been fantastic. And it's not only that he gives up, I mean, he doesn't give up more homers on the road. I mean, there are less games, but still 5 homers on the road, 7 at home. He just walks guys on the road. He doesn't strike out as many guys on the road. He just isn't very good on the road. So I don't know what the heck he's going to be for the Yankees, but I hope that for his sake, I hope that he doesn't pull a Joey Gallo and just dive bomb into baseball depths because that would stink for him.
Yeah. I think on one hand, I'm kind of bummed that the Jays didn't get him, mostly because he went to the Yankees. I think if he had gone to like the Cardinals, I wouldn't have cared. But the Yankees pitching has actually, I mean, they're still great, but they've dropped from the early season. The Yankees in general, I mean, look, they have a huge lead on the division, don't get me wrong. But if you go you remember that crazy game against the Blue Jays where the Blue Jays were down a ton and Lourdes hit that grand slam and then Teo hit that other home run and they won 10-9 on Father's Day? Since Father's Day, including that loss, the Yankees are 2 games above 500 over that stretch. Like not crazy. And before this Kansas City series, it was 500. It was just winning this Kansas City series that put them 2 over. So like the Yankees, I don't want to say they're catchable because I don't really think they are, unless a miracle were to happen. But I was happy with them like slowing momentum headed to the second half. And this probably does give them a jolt. I mean, they get to what? You're our resident Yankees guy. Replace Domingo Germán probably with Montas or something.
So Severino just hit the IL, 60-day IL.
60?
I believe that. Yeah, you're not going to see.
Oh, so he's done.
This is classic Severino.
So
he's great. He's great. My elbow hurts. You won't see him for 2 years. It's classic Severino.
Well, then they needed this. clearly.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe the Domingo Herman story is that he doesn't have options or something. So they don't know what they're gonna do with him. But
Yeah, they don't want to put him
uh,
down.
blah, 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 blah. He's out of minor league options. Cannot be sent down without passing through waivers. Boone vague about when Montas is available. So you're gonna see. I think Herman's gonna stay up because Severino is gone. But you like Tyone has to pick it up. Montgomery has to pick it up. The Yankees are gonna like be strong through the playoffs because you're right. Like that stretch July where they just weren't all that good. Um, they were 500, I believe, or maybe under 500. It was because a lot of the time the pitching is kind of let them down a little bit, and that wasn't always the starters. A lot of times, I mean, that Clay Holmes home run to Salvador Perez the other night because after Rizzo put them ahead, but they've gotten some help from guys like Ron Marinaccio in the back of the bullpen, who's kind of been elite for them, but they need an arm. They're going to be, and that was what Scott Efros was for them, who I would admit it, I didn't know who he was before I traded for him, but then I looked him up. Guy looks good. He
And
just
they got
mows
Lou
down
Trevino.
lefties.
They got
Yes,
the ace
who's
closer.
terrible, but they might make him good.
So, yeah, some good moves from some interesting moves. I wouldn't say from the Red Sox, great moves, but some interesting moves from people in the division. O's traded away Mancini, so if we were worried about them before, I would say probably not anymore. Although I really wasn't that worried about them projecting long term. And the Rays haven't done anything, unless I'm mistaken, since David Peralta.
No, Peralta's their only move, but I don't think it's a terrible move.
So Montas and Hader went to other teams, but we have some pitchers that we want to end up still in the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I mean, Dave Robertson's still out there.
Should we hit a break and then discuss all the pitchers that
Sure,
we might
man.
be interested in getting?
Let me tell you about Built Bar. If you haven't tried Built Bar Puffs yet, you're depriving yourself of one of life's greatest joys. And guess what? There's a new flavor. Ready? Delicious. Indulgent cookie dough covered in chocolate. That's right. Built has done it again. Let me introduce you to your new favorite. Cookie dough chunk puffs have a light and chewy texture, real cookie dough chunks, and of course, they're covered in 100% real chocolate. All of the joys of eating cookie dough without the hassle of making it. Plus, it's healthy for you. Cookie dough chunk puffs are only 160 calories and have a whopping 15 grams of protein in them. Run to built.com, people. Run. Go snag a box for you and the family. It's the perfect treat. Or you can find a really good hiding place and just hoard them for yourself. Like all Built Bars, the new cookie dough chunk puff is covered in 100% real chocolate. That means they're healthy and tasty. Chocolate covered cookie dough with a light, fluffy texture. So good. What's great about Built is that all of their bars are made with the collagen protein, which your body absorbs more efficiently and provides tons of health benefits. Eat something that tastes good and is good for you. You are going to love the new cookie dough chunk puff, whether you need a snack for your workout and a late night treat, or just need to grab a quick bite. Built is the perfect protein bar, and they taste better than a candy bar. Ditch the calories, fat, and sugar. Grab yourself a Built Bar. Go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your first order or all your orders. Use promo code LOCKED15.
And thank you so much for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. The Major League Baseball trade deadline is today, and Locked On LB has all the breakdowns. Locked On Blue Jays, we will rapid react if a move is made. Subscribe now to your favorite Locked On team on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you get notified when each episode premieres. Okay, pitching. I think both of us can, I think everyone pretty much, although a couple people are all over Soto, can agree that at a minimum, pitching in general, starting or relieving, is the biggest need for the Blue Jays. And you said it before we hopped on the break. As much as the Blue Jays haven't done anything yet, David Robertson is still out there. And he's a bit of a white whale for us. I think both of us have been talking about bringing him in for a while. So yeah, I mean, both of us are still, unless, correct me if I'm wrong, very interested in the Blue Jays being very interested in David Robertson.
I think that the Cubs are interested in packaging him, so I think that might be what's stopping this because
with like
it would be hard for them to get anything back for him. I mean, it is not a huge selling point. Like the guy is good this season. He has a 2.23 ERA. He's struck out 51 batters in 40 innings. Like he's been really, really good. He's got a whip at 1. I mean, he's doing all the right things. He's been really, really good. But he's 37 and his contract is not 1 year, $3.5 million. Like if the Jays wanted to trade for him, they'd be like, I'll offer you a cracker and some salsa. Like it's like not like there's what are they going to give? Like they're going to give like a really bad prospect or something.
Middle of the 30 prospect. I think number 17, 18.
Honestly, I don't think they would do that. I think it would be outside the top 30. Honestly.
Really? Dang.
Yeah. I mean, he's 37. How could you justify giving them a good player?
But a lot of teams, it's all about how many teams want him and are willing to bid against
I guess,
each other.
but I don't think the Cubs. But my point is, I don't really think the Cubs would do that because they know more value is putting him with Contreras or putting him with Happ. And then you have a real deal. They could be like, well, we're also giving you Robertson. And then there's a whole different kind of fold of the conversation. So I think that deal kind of ends in a package. I don't know who the Jays. I mean, I don't think Happ would be cool for the Jays to get. And a switch hitter, like that kind of appeases you and the rest of the fan base who want a left-handed hitter, Ben. I think Happ would be cool, but I don't know how you could put him other than DH.
Yeah, let's save, I feel like, position player for the back part, but I do agree it's kind of weird to think about where you would want a position player to fit in right now.
Could play second.
He could. That's Santi's spot, though. Another guy, maybe Noah Syndergaard.
I hate this.
Syndergaard has been rumored. You hate it? Why do you hate it?
Yeah, I do. He's not good. Like, I don't think that guy's good. Is that crazy? Like, his numbers aren't bad, but like, I don't know. He's a strikeout guy, and he's not striking people out. He's just, I don't know. I've never been a Syndergaard fan. I think that a lot of people, like I saw people on Twitter being like, we got to get him back. It's a reunion. Like, first of all, he never played the majors for you. Second of all, they're like, we got to win the trade. Like, the trade is far from won. Noah Syndergaard is a fine player. I don't think he makes a world of difference for this team. I guess he probably helps, but like, I don't know. I'm not a fan of his.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, bringing him in, like bringing any starter in, might mean that Ross goes to the bullpen. So are you upgrading? Because Manoah, Gausman, Barrios are obviously in the rotation. And as it appears right now, Kikuchi's going to stay in it too. So Stripling would be the one to get moved, or you're going to a 6-man, which would mean all your best guys would pitch less often.
I get that. I get that you can't put Kikuchi in the bullpen and everything, but like, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like if you're gonna do what is best for this team, you sit down and you say, who are our best starting pitchers? It's not Yusei Kikuchi. Ross Stripling is better than UK Kikuchi in the rotation. He just is. Like, there's no two ways about it. If you acquire a starter right now, your best rotation is one without Yusei Kikuchi, and that's a fact. You can't tell me I'm wrong. It just is. I get that you can't put him in the bullpen. Whatever. Well, do you want to win games or do you not want to win games?
Well, we will continue that debate too more as we see Kikuchi pitch more. Can I bring up another guy to you, a little bit of a wild cardish guy, and see how you feel?
Sure, man.
Allegedly, the Giants have been okay with talking about Carlos Rodon.
I'm very high on Rodon. I want to see Rodon move. I think the Yankees I think the Yankees really want him. So I would say if you're the Jays right now, you got to act fast because you either have to try and at least play spoiler, and also you get a good pitcher doing that. I mean, this guy, an all-star this year, his ERA is at 3 flat. He's got the best FIP in the NL. He's got the best strikeouts per 9 in the NL. Like the guy he's been underratedly fantastic. Like nobody's really talking about how good he's been this season. Like he could end up being a Cy Young candidate. Absolutely. Like he is fantastic. And the Giants are smart to get rid of him because he's only on a 2-year deal. He's not making an absorbent amount of money, 22 a year, and they're not very good this season. So why not offload him and get something back? I do think you'd have to give up a decent piece of change for him. The Jays would have to give up, I think, multiple top 15 prospects to get Rodon because he's so good. And this year, the trade market hasn't been good for buyers. So I think it would take a lot. But if the Jays want to win, go get Rodon. Go get him. A good lefty to add to the rotation, a guy that you maybe thought you were getting in Kikuchi comes in Rodon. I think that would be totally good. I think Rodon's fantastic.
For those who don't know, he's on a 2-year deal. If you said that, I apologize, but I don't think he did. He's on a 2-year deal. He's making $22 million a year, which isn't insane. Remember, Noah Syndergaard is making, now you wouldn't have to pay it all, but he's making 21. So the cost for this year would be pretty much the same. It definitely interests me. I mean, you could trade for Rodon, and then you could explore trading Ryu elsewhere in the offseason, and then you have the spot for him going forward into next year too, potentially. And it's not a long-term commitment because you don't really have long-term money because you committed long-term money to Gausman and Barrios, and you're going to Manoah soon. But it is, yeah, I mean, it's really enticing. I would offer a lot for Carlos Rodon.
Kind of interesting to me that he got the contract he did this offseason, it being kind of lowballing him because, I mean, this was a guy who finished top 5 in Cy Young voting last year, and he's represented by Scott Boras. So you kind of think, like, top 5 in Cy Young voting, he's about to get the bag. And then he didn't. So, I don't know. I mean, he got decent money, 22 a year, but, like,
yeah,
you think more.
He took a little like a little more money, I think, over a longer-term deal. Like maybe he could have grabbed like a 4x17, but he went for a 2x22. I don't know. Also think he probably subscribed to the look what the Giants did last year with all these veteran pitchers, making them really, really good. Maybe that can happen for me. But yeah, he's an interesting one. We don't have to take a break right now, I realized. So I was going to wait for us to take a break to do something. Audio listeners, you're about to hear an ad right now. Video listeners, good for you. You don't have to hear an ad. Can I read you a tweet that came out pretty recently?
Sure, man.
We've kind of already discussed it, but it came out while we were recording, so we may as well at least talk about it a little bit. John Morosi, who, if you don't know, MLB Network Insider. Hashtag Blue Jays have, this is 7 minutes ago. Hashtag Blue Jays have interest in Ian Happ, whose ability to play center field is valuable in light of George Springer's recent injury. It's a good point. It's a good point. Pre-Springer grabbing at his elbow a lot, where do you fit a guy in the lineup? Because I like Tapia these days. I've come around on him. I've always liked Biggio. Those are kind of your 2 main backup players. Unless you're significantly upgrading at second base in terms of Espinal, I don't really see a huge deal there. The corner outfielders have been good. But yeah, George, whether it's getting him a ton of DH days or actually getting him like an IL stint, probably needs a rest with the way he was looking in this recent series. So having you don't trade for a guy just so you can put a guy on the 10-day IL. Like you obviously have more of a reason than that.
Sorry, you cut out. What'd you say? Okay, now I can't hear you. You're right, though. You don't want to just trade for a guy just so you could put George on the IL because if he's hurt, he's hurt. You want to get him to be better. But, hey, look at that. I kind of called it. Bonestradamus that moment right there with Ian Happ. I think he's a good bat to add to the lineup, too. A guy who has proven that he is an all-star hitter in the past and is a switch hitter, which I think really helps this lineup because, like I said before, Everybody thinks that they need a left-handed bat for some reason. I don't, but you're gonna get half of one, so that's good. Ben's having poor guy's having mic issues right now. Oh, I hear you now.
You got me?
Yeah, there you are, man.
Cool. New mic. My bad.
What were you asking?
I don't know.
Okay, it's about Ian Happ.
Yeah. What other position players would you look at? Anyone? I can read if you want. ESPN put out the top 10 players available. I can tell you some.
So the problem with the Jays is like you don't really need one. Like you don't need a really good one because where would you put him unless you're going to go for a DH? And if you're going to go for a DH, I don't think this is a name a lot of people have thrown out there, but the White Sox are bad, and Jose Abreu's old. Put him on this team, play him at DH every single day. He hits tanks. You call it a day. I mean, like, I think he'd be a good bat to add to the lineup. I mean, again, like a veteran guy on a really bad team. Like, the only thing is, like, I think he's kind of like a White Sox for life kind of guy. But, like, so is Trey Mancini, and he's gone.
I don't know if
Abreu this season's been really good.
He has. I think it's a good pick. I don't know if the White Sox are selling, though.
I don't think they are, but it would be stupid not to because they're 500 in the freaking AL Central, and they're awful.
They're 3 games back in the division.
Yeah, but they're bad, dude. Like, they don't have good players on their baseball team. They don't.
Well, I actually think they do, but they're not performing.
I don't think they have good players on their baseball team.
Who else? I did see an interesting tweet off the Ian Happ tweet from Sportsnet's Ben Nicholson-Smith. Not only did he mention maybe having a Robertson package with Happ, he also mentioned having a Drew Smyly be packaged with Ian Happ too. I'd be lying if I told you I knew exactly how well Smyly was doing this year. It's not that great, and I'm not that interested personally.
Yeah, that guy is bad. He's not good.
I would rather keep Kikuchi.
It's the same player on paper.
Doesn't look. Some people wanted Josh Bell. Looks like Josh Bell's being packaged with Soto. Also, John Morosi. Yeah, John Morosi tweeted that the Blue Jays are not even having talks with the Nats. So again, like Soto's not a possibility.
I don't think Soto's moving. I don't.
I think he might, but not to the Jays.
I don't think he's going. If he's going anywhere, I think we can all agree it's probably the Padres.
Yeah,
I think only the Padres and like. Yeah, I think only the Padres and maybe like the Cardinals could get the deal done. And then the Cardinals offered them like everybody except for Jordan Walker, and they were like, no. So I don't think he's going anywhere.
I'm trying to see.
And I like how the Padres offered them 3 prospects, or maybe it was 4 prospects, and then the Nats were like, that's nice, but we need 1 more. It's like, dude, what do you like? Come on, man. So
I'm trying to see. Tyler Mahle is a name some people talk about.
People are talking about him a lot.
I wouldn't be that happy with that. He's a guy where it's like the numbers aren't good.
Like, why would you want him?
Because the periphery numbers are better.
I don't.
I don't care either. I know.
That was what everybody said about Kikuchi. He was good for a half last year. He's going to be good now.
Let me see. I'm just getting this top 10 players available. I mean, JD Martinez, no. Nate Eovaldi, they won't trade him to us. Already talked about Syndergaard, Happ, and Robertson, and Josh Bell, and Wilson Contreras. I don't think the Blue Jays are at all interested in. They have catching. They don't want a permanent DH, as far as I believe. Yeah, I don't know. The Detroit guys, it seems like they want more than I'm willing to give, except Fulmer, because Fulmer's in his final year. So Fulmer, I'm still in on. But like Skubal, Soto, they said they want.
I think it's crazy that they're trying to trade Skubal. I think that's insane.
They're like not with the asking price they put out there. So it's like, why even do this? Like,
it's very ridiculous.
The guy just became a Tiger. Give him a break, you know? Because they said they want multiple high impact players, which they're not going to get. So
way.
they're essentially just letting Skubal know, like, we would get rid of you. You know, this is a
Yeah.
business. And Gregory Soto is like 4 years of team control left. They want a lot for him. I mean, which is like, that's what the Yankees did with Efros in a way. Like, they gave up some valuable prospects to get a guy under team control. But trades like that make me nervous for relievers. Like, good relievers turn into not good relievers in the blink of an eye. I'm much more in on getting a short-term guy. Unpopular opinion, but if the Yankees DFA'd Aroldis Chapman, I'd pick him up.
Well, they're not gonna.
They're not
But
gonna. Brett Phillips got
I kinda wish
DFA'd
they would.
today. You want Brett Phillips?
Dude, what is that? That's crazy.
I know. That's so sad.
We're so over time, by the way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe they'll get Brett Phillips, even though I love that guy. But whatever. Well, thank you for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen today. Go make your second listen Locked On MLB with MLB expert Paul Francis Sullivan. He brings humor, passion, and unique perspective on every team and the biggest stories around the league. Follow the #1 daily league-wide podcast, Locked On MLB, on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast. Ben and I back tomorrow to react to any trades and react to a Rays game. Doses.